Hello out there, and today we're going to be answering the 5 most important questions regarding Benchmade's CF Elite handle material on this Mini Presidio 2. And these questions are the questions that I had when I first heard about this new material, this new thing that Benchmade was doing and putting it on this model, but also on the bug out. And it's going to be in a number of other places, I'm sure. And I just didn't know what it was. I wanted to get some information. What would it look like? What would it feel like? Is it any good? Is it just, a trendy kind of thing to try to, scrounge up some interest in the models and sell more units? Like, what is the point of this? And so that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. This is not going to be a full review. If you do want to see a full review of the model, not necessarily the CF Elite version, but I do have a video about the Mini Presidio 2 in aluminum, and I also, in that video, compare it to the original, like, plastic scaled Mini Presidio 1. So obviously I really like the model. Spoiler alert. So check that video out if you want a little bit more of a breakdown of the model and ergos and that sort of thing. We are going to get into some of those details, of course, over the course of answering these questions, but not going to be going all the way into it like we would in some other videos. But let's get into these questions and let's talk about the CF Elite, starting with the first question. What is it? What is a CF Elite scale? What's the point of it? Well, CF Elite is it's a carbon fiber reinforced nylon polymer, which is a lot to to take in. So basically what it is, it's a plastic. It's a molded plastic scale that also has some carbon fiber in that mold reinforcing it. At least that's my understanding of it. And so what that does is it provides a little bit more structure and rigidity. So in the case of the bug out, which has a CF Elite handle material version now, in the case of that, some of that flex that we've seen in the past might go away. It might be a little bit more rigid and stronger kind of scale. It's also going to reduce weight versus just a regular plastic scale as well. Just that carbon fiber aspect reduces weight just a little bit. So it definitely has some positive things going for it. The CF in that name, CF Elite, though, might be a little bit misleading, right? Because getting into number 2, does it look like carbon fiber? And the answer is no, it doesn't look like carbon fiber. I was on a number of websites looking at pictures of all these knives, and I couldn't decide. I was like, does this look like a carbon fiber kind of like blend or something? And in some of the pictures, I don't know if pictures got doctored or something, but in some of the pictures, it really did look like it was sort of carbon fibery, and I'm having a hard time focusing on it right now. But yeah, it really doesn't look like carbon fiber at all, guys. When I got this knife, I handed it to my wife and I said, what is this handle material? What does it look like to you? And she said, that's plastic. So that is really what it looks like. If I can get it in focus. Jesus God. All right. So yeah, it really just does look like plastic. And sometimes, depending on the way the light hits it, you can see there's just like a little bit of like a pattern almost. And there's different like shades in that plastic, but it's plastic looking. So it doesn't look like carbon fiber. If you're expecting something that looks, a little bit more on the classy side, like a CF scale would, you might be barking up the wrong tree. So definitely be aware of that. All right, number 3. All right, so it doesn't look like carbon fiber. Does it feel like carbon fiber? No. No, it doesn't feel like carbon fiber either. It feels like plastic. When I hand it to my wife, what does it feel like? What does it look like? Plastic. So that's really what we have is I think the negative with this material, and maybe the way that it's put out, whether it was intentional or not, is, at least me, I hear CF, I see the letters CF, I think carbon fiber, and I think that it's going to be something that is, like a little bit more obvious and a little bit more a part of the structure than just, on a molecular level, I guess, right? I'm thinking I'm going to feel it or I'm going to see it and really experience it. And I actually called Benchmade and asked them to describe what this was for me, you know, and this was before I even got this knife. I called them up and I was like, so tell me about your CF Elite. And, you know, I was trying to see if it was like a money grab kind of thing. Are we just trying to like hook people on the idea that, oh yeah, it's carbon fiber, it's in there kind of thing. And no, that's not what it was about with them at all. They 100%, the entire time I was on the phone with the person, they were talking about the structure and the strength of it. And that is the selling point for it. You know, so like what you're getting is a stronger scale, and they weren't trying to like get it to look like carbon fiber that much. They weren't trying to get it to feel like carbon fiber. They wanted it to behave like carbon fiber. And unfortunately, I think they named it in a way that might confuse some people. And you're going to have to do your research, or maybe you just fell upon this video and and that will help explain it for you. All right, but number four, so it doesn't feel like it, it doesn't look like it, we know what it is, but all right, is it a good scale? Can we like come back to that? At the end of the day, is this a quality handle material? And guys, I gotta say, it is pretty damn good. What I really like about it is just how comfortable it is and all the different points of contact. I mean, obviously, me being a big Benchmade fan and loving the mini grip as much as I do, I don't have a problem with plastic-based scales. They don't bother me, right? This has to be maybe, like, I can't off the top of my head think of a better scale that I've ever had that was like a plastic base than this. This is an excellent scale. And what I'll say, and what I've said so many times about knives that have like a plastic scale, especially with the Griptilian series, for example, is the large Griptilian, the regular full-size Griptilian, sort of bothers me sometimes because the scales feel flimsy. I feel like you have a certain density on a plastic scale, and the smaller it is, the better it feels, the better structure and strength that, you know, even a small knife like this CRKT Pete that has a plastic scale, you know, at this small size, it feels pretty good, and it feels sturdy, and it feels as good as you're going to ever need it to be. But the larger and larger the knife gets with a plastic scale, the more that density just sort of disappears and it seems flimsy. And on this knife, being one of the larger knives that I've had with a plastic kind of scale, even though it is the mini version, I mean, this is wonderful. It is really, really a good quality scale, and one that I'd be very happy to carry. So personally, I mean, despite everything that we talked about in number 2 and number 3, I mean, I have zero qualms with the structure and the way that this scale actually feels and the way that it's going to perform. So finally, number 5, is there value here? Well, it all depends on you, right? I mean, when it comes to the bug out, if we're going to just sort of talk about that other model, you know, if you were looking at the price difference, I think there's like a $20-something price difference between the CF Elite scale and the regular Grivery plastic scale that they have, right? So is that going to be a big enough deal for you? Well, maybe you like the color, maybe you really like the fact that it doesn't flex that much, or the structure, or, you know, the fact that it is just a little bit lighter. In this case with the Mini Presidio 2, though, you do have the full steel liner, so you have that backing of a little bit of extra strength anyway. You know, I think the value here for the price point, if you take a look at the price of this one, coming in at $127 with the satin blade, and then I think $130 something for the black blade, I mean, you're in really good shape as far as value goes versus the old aluminum model, which has been discontinued. I think that one ran around $170, and I know you could get it cheaper in other places, and like it dropped down once they, you know, had announced that it was going to just get discontinued, and it was like around $150, $140. But as far as price point goes, I think $127 for this knife in this day and age, USA made, and again for the quality of it at this point, it's pretty fantastic. And the other thing to note is that Mini Presidio 2, the aluminum one, that one on my scale weighed in at 3.99 ounces. And here, the CF Elite, I'm telling you, with my new setup here, it is really hard to focus on the scale. But 3.18, or is that 6? 3.16 ounces on this knife. All right? So pretty darn light. If we take a look at a mini grip, right? Mini grip is 2.76. So the difference in size here versus weight I mean, we're pretty solid considering the fact that we have these full stainless steel liners, like all the way through the knife, a lot thicker than what we have in the mini grip. I mean, the fact that it's just, you know, a little bit lighter, less than half an ounce lighter, I think we're in a really good position for a lot of people to enjoy this knife a lot. So even though maybe, you know, it could be misleading, a little bit of a misnomer with the CF Elite, as long as you put the time in to get an understanding of what you're actually receiving, I think you could be in a position to really enjoy this handle material, especially what it might do to price points of knives that you're interested in, and also just like the structure that you could get and the quality of a plastic that we really might not have experienced before. All right, guys, so any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. Take care and have a good one.